Hello LensVid fans and welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at this PNBE 7-inch HDMI monitor. Let's see what it can do. A few weeks ago we received a review sample of the new PNBE High Brightness HDR 7-inch HDMI field monitor. In this video we're going to take a look at what comes in the box, the design and build of the monitor, as well as the operation and performance before we give you our final verdict. The monitor is made by PNBE, and if you've never heard of PNBE before, we can't blame you because it's not a company but an association of cinematographers and broadcasters based in Italy and Spain. Unlike most of the other gear manufacturers around, they're not in it for the money as they're a non-profit organization. Their only goal is to make affordable products for the filming community, which is not only unique but downright commendable. The unit that we're testing is part of a series of 4 high brightness monitors that PNBE is selling, which includes a 5-inch version, a 6-inch version, and 2 7-inch versions, one with SDI and HDMI connections, and one with only HDMI, which is the one that we have been testing. In the box you get a nice carrying case, and inside you can find HDMI cables, an Allen key, a metal tilting cold shoe mount, and a special cable for a tally light. There's also a pretty extensive manual and of course the monitor itself. The monitor is made of hard plastic and it feels pretty robust and not too light in the hand. The buttons are a tad plasticky though, and they do make more clicking noise than any other monitor that we have. One advantage of a plastic build is that it doesn't get too hot, unlike a metal monitor which can get very warm, like our BM5 that can be very hard to touch after an hour of operation. The monitor has 1/4 inch 20 screws on all sides, which is a nice touch. It would be great if it had RE locating pinholes as well to prevent rotating like some of our other monitors do. Connecting an arm to the monitor also made us realize that the 1/4 inch 20 threads are a bit too short, which is kind of strange. On the back of the screen you have dual L-type battery mounts with horizontal positioning, which is an interesting design, although we're not sure if it actually has any advantage. The battery locks are really nice, unlike most other monitors we have, which are too easy or too hard to unlock for some reason. You can also hot swap the batteries, as you only need one at any given time to power the monitor, which can be useful for very long shoots. On the top there are 7 buttons, a red button for turning the screen on and off, and other 6 buttons including 2 user programmable F1, F2 buttons. We would really like to see 4 programmable buttons with an easier way to program them and with more options, but it is still better than some manufacturers who rely only on touch. What we found a bit awkward is that the markings for the buttons are on the back and it can take some getting used to. Markings on the top or even having an on-display markings option could have been very useful. In terms of connections, it has an HDMI in and out, USB-A for firmware updates and LUTs on the lower part, and headphones and tally on the sides. We would really love to see a monitor that is smart enough to know when the camera is rolling and would have a built-in tally light for both the operator and the talent to see when the camera is recording, but we're not even sure if it's possible with the HDMI only monitor. When it comes to power, aside from the L-mount batteries we mentioned, you can use the DC 7 to 24 volt connector to power the monitor. And we used our power pipe 12 volt USB-C PD for power, and it seemed to work very well, but we did notice some strange glitches with menus, so we're trying to figure out if it has to do with the power supply. It would be nice if this PNBE monitor had a USB-C power option like this Field World that we have, but we have yet to test a 7-inch monitor that has that option. While the hardware feels for the most part pretty solid, the operation and software seems a little outdated. This monitor has no touch features and the menus are not the most intuitive. Plus, you only have 2 programmable buttons, which means that you don't have a lot of options to avoid the menus while operating the screen. The monitor offers most of the common assist tools, including focus peaking for color and level, false color, histogram, zebras, check field, aspect ratio, image zoom up to 8 times, audio meters, image flip, horizontal and vertical delay, frame markers, freeze frame. The only major thing missing seems to be the waveform. Most of our testing is based on comparisons we have done against some of the other monitors that we have. The range of viewing angles looks on par with the other monitors that we use in the studio, including the BM5. We have found that a higher brightness is a major factor here. The color seems a little less saturated than our BM5 monitor, but more accurate. Sharpness looks very similar, and we also compared the brightness of the screen to the BM5, and although this isn't very scientific, it looks like it is about as bright with the backlight turned on in the menu to its highest setting. We've been using this monitor alongside some of our other monitors in the studio. We haven't had a chance to take it outside to test it in bright sunlight, but in our tests we've found that this has performed even better than some of our other monitors in terms of brightness. In working with our pre-production unit, we came across a few minor bugs in the menus that we reported to PNBE, and they've been very attentive, and there's a good chance that those bugs will be fixed in the future firmware update or have already been sorted out in the production units. The PNBE 7-inch monitor is an interesting offer. It is very well built, it offers good viewing angles, decent colors, excellent brightness, contrast, and sharpness. The dual L-mount batteries are also very useful if you want to power the monitor for a long time. Besides not having a touch screen, the biggest drawback at this point seems to be the interface and the lack of more user-programmable buttons. If you can get around these limitations and you want a good quality, high brightness 7-inch monitor, this PNBE unit should be on your list, especially when you consider the value. We would certainly like to see more products coming out of the group in the future. Speaking of value, the 7-inch HDMI version that we tested sells for just under $200, which is extremely competitive pricing for this type of monitor. So that was our look at the 7-inch HDMI monitor by PNBE. Check out the full review on our website at lensvid.com. Subscribe to the channel and come back for more videos. We'll see you in the next one. Interesting.